Giant 2021 statue is end-time technology coming to a city near you. And the giant is a giant, 10 stories tall, the world's tallest moving and speaking statue. The world's tallest moving and speaking statue. It has patented skin, which is a matrix of millions of LED pixels, giving it the ability to instantly take the appearance and form of any man or woman. It is a shapeshifter. And 21 of these are coming to 21 cities near you. I've received more questions about this giant than any other topic in the last year. The current plans for the giant are to have it change its shape every hour into the form of a well-known man or woman. The company produced a video showing the giant being turned into superheroes like Spider-Man, sports stars like Atlanta quarterback Matt Ryan, and entertainment stars like Beyonce, and even Today Show host Al Roker, who allowed himself to be scanned and then transformed into the giant. The statue will also have the ability to speak or sing to the crowds that gather below, and visitors who have been scanned inside the exhibition space can have their own image uploaded onto the giant, just like Roker did, resulting in what the owners call the world's most spectacular selfie. Well, it sounds pretty innocent, but I think it is a lot less innocent than most think. There are some disturbing aspects of this giant. We know from the Bible that all giants weren't benevolent beings. In Genesis 6, we learn that they were the offspring of fallen angels and humans. They were chimera, or mixed genetic creatures. And of course, in the Old Testament, they were enemies of God's people, Goliath being the most famous. The size of this giant is reminiscent of Nebuchadnezzar's golden statue from Daniel 3. That statue was 60 cubits high, or about 90 feet. The giant statue will be about 140 feet high. And before we get into the distressing end-time possibilities of this statue's technology, let's take a moment to discuss how a city or a company or a nation could use this for propaganda purposes. The possibility of combining the images of famous historic figures with a voice speaking a political message is almost too great a temptation, I believe, for some to resist. Imagine Abraham Lincoln giving a message to defund the police, or John F. Kennedy delivering a message on why you should get a vaccine, or the image of Einstein promoting a global warming message, or the image of Jesus delivering a message that all religions lead to heaven. The misuses of this statue are endless in the wrong hands. And before you dismiss this idea, I think it is exactly what the founders of the giant have in mind. The creator of the giant, Patty Dunning, had this to say, quote, "The world has to change, and the giant wants to be part of this change and inspire people to reach their full potential and help us save the planet." Now I realize this is creative writing, but notice how Patty makes the giant seem like a living being. The giant wants to participate in this. Rather than saying the company wants to be part of the change, Patty attributes it to the giant. And notice the term, quote, "save the planet." Obviously he's not a Christian, as only Jesus saves the planet. The slogan of the giant is, quote, "awaken the giant within you," which just happens to be a catchphrase of the occult. For this piece of information, we need to thank blogger Todd Atkins. Thanks, Todd. Now, this doesn't mean that this is an occult company. It could be accidental, but it's very unusual. Around the base of the statue are various drawings, one of which is a creature with horns and two lower fangs dangling a white horse and rider from a string, ready to devour him. This is a very strange artwork for something that's supposed to be family friendly. Who is the rider on the white horse that the beast is trying to eat? Could it represent Jesus, who returns on a white horse? Another strange artwork is an executioner cyclops with severed human heads hanging from its waist. What exactly are they signaling with this type of art? Is this a picture of how they plan to use these 21 giant statues in the future? Is execution part of their purpose? Another aspect of these statues that's unusual is that the software controlling the statues will be interconnected on a worldwide basis, so all 21 images can be programmed to share the same message and the same image at the same time. Quote, Giant is bespoke for its city and country. Each is also a member of a family that can digitally communicate with other giants around the world. Global events will engender global communities, and these trend-setting events will become a defining social feature of the coming decades. That's from the Giant website statement. More on this idea in a moment. Christians, of course, have been asking us how this technology might be used in the future. Does it have an end-time application? In fact, all the questions we received about the giant were based on the possibility of this being a forerunner to the image of the beast. By the signs that it is allowed to work in the presence of the beast, it deceived those who dwell on the earth, telling them to make an image for the beast that was wounded by the sword and yet lived. And it was allowed to give breath to the image of the beast, so that the image of the beast might even speak and might cause those who would not worship the image of the beast to be slain. This technology could easily produce a giant image of the Antichrist, a 10-story image, and the image could speak. However, this technology would not be able to make it breathe. It could look like it was breathing, but it would not be real breath. So we have some doubts whether the giant technology could be applied to making the true image of the beast. However, the Greek word breath in this passage is pneuma, which is more commonly translated as spirit. In fact, much more commonly translated. So could a spirit inhabit these statues in the future? An evil demonic spirit? Is that possible? I think it could be. So I don't think we should rule out that this giant could be used to produce the image of the beast. However, even if this isn't part of the true image of the beast, this technology definitely could make enormous statues of the Antichrist all over the world, and these could be sites of regional worship of the Antichrist, just like Nebuchadnezzar's statue was a site of worship. And the herald proclaimed aloud, "You are commanded, O peoples, nations, and languages, that when you hear the sound of the horn, pipe, lyre, trigon, harp, bagpipe, and every kind of music, you are to fall down and worship the golden image that the king Nebuchadnezzar has set up. And whoever does not fall down and worship shall immediately be cast into a burning fiery furnace." And these Antichrist statues that we're talking about as a possibility could easily be used as these types of regional worship sites. And this might be part of the way that all peoples, nations, and languages are subjected to a test, where if they don't bow down, they are killed, much as Nebuchadnezzar's statue was used in ancient Babylon, and how Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were thrown in the fiery furnace. And because these statues can be linked together worldwide, it can be an international experience in numerous cities around the world simultaneously. A simultaneous message from the Antichrist or a worship of the Antichrist, and of course, on cell phones worldwide. This is supposition, but it is entirely possible. Now, might these worship services include execution of those not worshiping the giant? Is this why the executioner image is on the base of the statue? It is a frightening thought. Will this visible image and networking also include connecting the minds of its adherents? Just like all the statues are connected and a, quote, family, will all the worshippers be connected to this same family? connecting all human minds to a computer. And it is something that's taking place right now. In May, experimental patients were able to manipulate a computer cursor with their minds alone. How long before a computer manipulates the experimental person?